Welcome to another episode of Ideas to Inspire Ideas, the show where I throw spit at a wall and you stick it. I didn't mean it like that. Let's just move on. This episode is more of a story outline that I'm asking you to bring a lot to. Because this one goes out to all the creatives who are not of white culture. I hope that doesn't sound offensive. I personally want a lot more diverse stories in modern media, and that's only going to happen if more diverse people put their stories out there. And usually the best stories draw from the history and culture and mythology of the creators. There's two common structures of storytelling. The more popular one is therefore and but. Once there was a boy who wanted this, therefore he did this. But this happened, therefore the boy did this. And then the other method is, and then there was a boy, and then he did this, 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 and then he did... Not as commonly used nowadays, but is still a solid foundation for character-driven adventures. Usually the only thing connecting these events is the main character going through them. It's the structure of Homer's Odyssey, one of the oldest known stories to be written. So that's the method I'm suggesting for this one. You create a main character and walk them through your culture, history, legends, all the fun stuff. Whatever creatures you want. Beyond that, I'm not really throwing you much of a bone for this one, but I do have a few ideas on the setup and the inciting incident. Because I'm Australian, I'm just going to use something from Aboriginal culture to make my point for this. Aboriginal women are actually forbidden from playing the didgeridoo. Sorry to say. So, starting with a young woman in a traditional Aboriginal community, imagine she's sitting up on a rock, looking out at the desert. Yes, very stereotypical. And she sees something dangerous off in the distance. Maybe a dust storm or... Wait... Kangaroos can't really stampede, can they? And trying to warn her community down on the ground she can't be heard just screaming at them. But there just happens to be a didgeridoo lying up there that she decides to use to warn them. Yeah, feminist icons fight these sexist laws all the time, but I can't think of any situation in media where they've chosen to break the rule for a reason other than their own empowerment, freedom of speech. This character is choosing to save her community at great lawful risk to herself. So she uses a didgeridoo, warns her community, saves them, but still gets punished. If the law says that the punishment is death, then her act of heroism saves her life and downgrades her to banishment, which is what starts her journey through all these other cultural elements. At the start she can express her desire to leave and travel on her own, and then subconsciously use the didgeridoo to get her wish. If that adaptation method sounds too Disney to you, I did have another idea that's a bit more DreamWorks. This movie I conceived a long time ago when I was very young, called Goodbye to the Gods. I even did my own DVD cover artwork, which was really crappy back then. It was the title in the middle with the characters popping in from the side. Just like Shrek 2. This was a parody on the Greek mythology, all the gods being ridiculous stereotypes, Hermes the messenger god falling out of clouds a lot, the god of war being voiced by Billy Connolly, the angry Scot stereotype, and only 2 scenes ever conceived. Not even a storyline. One is more at the end of the film, in a big climactic battle. An army is rushing towards the gates of hell, Cerberus the three-headed dog bursts out, and the entire army just stops frozen in fear. Ares budging his way to the front. Get out of the way, I'll take on the overgrown puppy myself. Come on, Rover, show me your worst. One step flattened, and underneath, is that the best you can do? The second idea was really stupid and delves into movie spoof territory. The philosopher Socrates running around saying, I found the secret of life, I found the secret of life. Look, it's right here in the Oxford Dictionary. And there was the idea of a sequel, which diverted into Egyptian mythology and Ra, the sun god, and all that. But looking back, I probably would have gone the Egyptian film first. Everyone knows about the Greek gods. Egyptian isn't as popular, so I would have gone different. Now, leaping off that concept, I have contemplated what happened between mythology and history. That period of time as we were learning more about the world, that it wasn't made by gods who just did everything for us. I am curious in a story about the gods contemplating their own existence, now that humans don't believe in them anymore. What happens there? Do they disappear out of existence? Do they get new jobs? Or do they just bugger off from the planet? But at the end of the day, everything I say is hypocritical, automatically because I am a straight white male. And that's not me being bitter about social justice. That's genuinely what this situation is. What have I done this episode? Taken the whitest of white bread story structures and the presentation of not one but two giant American media corporations, then told you to filter your very specific and very unique family history through that for my entertainment. On top of that, I've told women how to justify the patriarchy, suggested the death of religious figures, even though I'm agnostic, so that's kind of on point. And by analysing all this, proven this entire series of videos utterly useless. But, on cultural defence, I am Australian with Irish heritage. My ancestors didn't want to be here either. Thanks for watching. This is my verbal declaration that I will not sue anyone for using the previous outline to create their own work, regardless of how much fame or money you might get from it. I'm definitely not the kind of artist who thinks I can own a concept. However, I would like to see what comes out of this video just for comparison and curiosity. If you do make something or find an existing piece that's similar, please let me know through Twitter or Facebook or email, and I'll happily check it out. And if you want to see the ideas I am working on for myself, please visit my Patreon page for samples and previews, no payment required. Happy creating, Bard Riley out! Man, I really should have released this on April Fool's Day. Then my stupidity would have been intentional. Oh, that brings tears to my eyes.